Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. And we're doing these Zoom meetings during the pandemic to try to help you understand a little bit more about what quantum techniques is and what we do. So I'm Jody Colegrove, and I'm with Quantum Techniques. I'm the practitioner, and I'm interviewing Steve Daniel, which is the founder of Quantum Techniques. So I appreciate you listening in and learning more about how to take care of your health and happiness. So what we wanted to do is just maybe first just a little bit to, if you haven't heard of one of these before, is kind of explain, how does quantum techniques work? So Steve, why don't you give us kind of a quick explanation on what we do?
Well, quantum techniques is the most, say, advanced, comprehensive source of energy medicine in the world. And it's based on the principle that, the divine made your body to heal. You don't see all the squirrels and rabbits and deer lining up at the pharmacy. The body was made to self-heal. And what the body can see, it will heal. But things that happen, they can be emotional traumas, they can be bad infections. One of the big things is, man-made toxins. Okay. Those things can really block the body's ability to connect with its healing intelligence and let things heal. So what we do in quantum techniques is find out what's missing in the body's informational system. What are the reasons that it's not online? We call that online. And like, I'll just use my metaphor. It's like your house and your body are the same. Your house gets hit by lightning, it pops the circuit breakers. That's great. Your house didn't burn down. But if you want to go back and live in your house, you better know how to reset the circuit breakers so that electricity flows. Well, if we think about information and electricity is the same thing, with quantum techniques, we're going back, finding out which circuit breakers got popped, resetting those and find out, do I have a faulty appliance plugged in? What's going on? And then we correct that, and then the body goes into a profound healing state.
Great, that's a great explanation. So what we do at the end of kind of dialoguing with the body is we give you a quantum techniques code, and that code represents a different part. There's different points that we have you touch or say that correspond with different meridians that deal with the different organs of the body to put the body back in a healing state. And so at each code that we give at the end is to put your body back in a healing state when you read that from the session that we did. And Steve, I thought you had a great explanation of, we have generic codes like for viruses and bacterias, but sometimes we have when we work with you, we have a specific code. And you had explained that it's kind of like going into a department store and you buy something off the rack, and it fits pretty good, it looks good, but sometimes it just doesn't quite fit right, and so you want to get a little more tailored. And so that's the difference between a generic code versus one that we work with you on the phone and develop for your specific issue and for your specific body.
Very true.
All right. So, and we do this remotely. And so we're used to working on the phone, and a lot of times, we have to touch a lot of different places. And so we're kind of moving and testing and things like that. We use applied kinesiology to ask the body questions to find out what's bothering it and how it can put it back into its healing state. Did you want to say anything more about, kind of like how we do this remotely?
Well, yes. I'll tell a funny story first. The first time my ex-mother-in-law watched me face-to-face doing this, she asked my ex-wife, is he having a seizure? Because I was, touching all these spots and doing all this and, in an altered state. So it can look funny if you watch your practitioner do it.
Yeah.
If you imagine this for a second, and all of us have had this experience, let's just say that one of your kids calls you and says, Mom or Dad, pretty much instantly, are they sick? Did they just have a fight with their boyfriend? Are they asking for money? Yeah. Right? So in a sense, we've all learned to read energy fields. We all have been practicing a form of remote energy medicine by listening to somebody's voice over the phone, like your kids. Are they in crisis they're going to ask for a check? They've had a fight with their boyfriend, they're sick. they got a cold. You can hear all that. Well,
Yes.
quantum techniques has taken that to a science. So by listening to your voice, we know you have a virus. Where is the virus? How many viruses? What kind of virus? Oh, you ate milk that had bacteria in it. Okay. I mean, so we've taken that to a whole nother level with our remote testing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of times I tell people it's like a lie detector test. We're testing to find out how the body responds. And there's so many different things that a muscle can, if it's strong, it's a strong answer. If it's weak, then we've got something going on. So yeah.
Well, and if you take that even further,
sorry, my son we have this little thing now, we're in a pandemic. As soon as he finishes his homework, he gets to tell me that. So we have a special handshake.
That's okay. Well, if you think about this, we're way ahead of our time, because right now with the pandemic, traditional medicine for the first time in insurance companies are paying for remote energy or a remote testing. Why? Because you don't have to have somebody come into your office to do most of your diagnostics. With energy medicine, you don't need them to come into your office at all. So this is a perfect time to try out QT.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting. Our church, they usually have communion at the first of the month, and so they got special permission, from the church that they could bless their elements and then bless everybody else's elements, whatever they were, to be able to partake in communion. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what we do. Right. So I'm kind of giddy, because it's like, now I have some things I can help explain to people what we do, because sometimes it's been hard to explain over the years that we've done this.
Well, think about this. Christ was the first remote energy practitioner. Mm-hmm. Now, the centurion, sent a servant to Christ and said, hey, another servant's sick. Will you, can you help them? And Christ said, I'm on my way. Well, the centurion sent another servant and said, oh no, you don't have to come. You just speak the word. Mm-hmm. And my client will be healed. Well, that person knew about QT, centurion, before we even created it, so remote energy medicine has been around forever.
Yeah.
That's how prayer works.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. What I always try to explain to people, is that somebody's energy because you know them, you hear their voice, you can tap into, how, like I said, like how they're feeling, if they want money, if they, they are sick when your kids call. So yeah, it's that same idea. So some great ideas there. And I hope that helps people understand what we do. So during this pandemic, we talked a little bit last time about your immune system. And what we wanted to talk about today is the liver and how, and the whole detox system, because yes, we can sometimes think about the liver, but there's all these different organs that are involved in helping the body function and get out the waste products in your body. And those all need to be functioning well. And what I found is fascinating is when the body not only kind of messes up the order of that, how fascinating what happens with the body. And I guess that's kind of where I have an interest in there, because we found for years that my mom's main detox organ was her hippocampus. And that is not even part of the detox system. And so that's one of the things that goes down when you have Alzheimer's. And so it's been very interesting to me, and I've really enjoyed learning about detox because of that. So we want to back up and start at the very beginning and kind of talk about the different phases of detox, what's going on, and how quantum techniques uses what we do to help people detox, because it's a little bit different than what you're kind of seeing out there in a lot of your different webinars and podcasts that you listen to. So we wanted to kind of share how we look at it. So Steve, you want to talk a little bit about liver detox 1, and then I'll kind of give a story.
Sure. Well, there are 2 detox pathways for the liver, and Detox 1 and Detox 2. And let me say, the first one is what we call the innate detox. No, excuse me. The first one is the acquired detox. Sorry about that. And that's something that Bruce Lipton, the biology belief, talks a lot about. Not necessarily that, but the body's healing. And so acquired fields that block that would be what's happened in this physical lifetime, like heavy metals, pathogens, emotional trauma that are not allowing the body to detox, just like the immune system. And both, we have liver 1 and liver 2, but we also have, what has happened in this life. Then we also have, were we born with good detox? But most of that's considered liver 1, liver 2. You can Google that. Detox 3 is something that's new, and you can look that up. And that is, okay, once the body uses the liver, your main detoxification organ, to pull these toxins out of tissue, can it get out through the urine and stool? Yes or no? Well, if it can't, that's something we can, I'll say, reset the circuit breakers and get the body to heal. Now, Detox 4 is very unique to QT. If you realize this, there are certain frequencies, especially medications. The purpose is to turn off information to the body. Those are anesthesias, amnesics, and sedatives. Hey, if I'm getting open heart surgery or a root canal removed, I want drugs. I don't want to be aware. Well, just because the anesthesias, quote, wore off, doesn't mean full information has been restored. Now, this is why after often you get a root canal, your first root canal, you get 3 more in the next few years. Why? Because the anesthesia turned off the body's awareness of what's going on. It does that for immune, it does that for detox. Number 5 is there a non-physical field, like a trauma, that's blocking your ability to detox? QT can address all of those. And let me come back to something. We're made to primarily detox through the colon and the urine. Now, we also detox through our breath, through our skin. Okay, those are the main things. But when the colon gets blocked up, often you end up with respiratory issues or skin issues like rashes. Well, years ago, what they would do if you had a lung infection is give you an enema. That's what moms did years ago. Why? It unloaded that to help your lungs open up. Now think about detox in the immune system. If you yourself are very constipated and you've been constipated for 3 or 4 days, how well do you feel? How much energy do you have? Yeah, do you feel like, oh, I think I'll go, do my 8-mile jog today? Or you're thinking, I'm going to just lay on the couch and do nothing until, I have a bowel movement? Well, that's your immune system. If you're full of toxins, your body's ability to actually use the energy it's got to protect you from pathogens is greatly reduced. So that's why, really, 3 of the cornerstones of our health is our immune system up and running? That was our last Zoom. Okay, is our detox up and running, and can we control inflammation? And QT can address all of those.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We, like I said, when we test somebody, when we get done with what we found, we test to say, okay, is your detox system working right? And we ask whether all the phases are working well. And I have often found that my husband was involved in construction, and so there a lot of times there's the fumes and the different toxins that he would come across. Well, it would reverse his liver, and so liver has the emotion of anger, and so if he was a little bit more angry or frustrated, I would test and find out whether his liver detox was working. And a lot of times it wasn't, and so we have a couple codes that we can do for these different phrases, and so I would release them into him, and he would be able to get out of that emotion. Same thing with my son. I would kind of put back on those codes for him, and he'd be able to kind of tell me what his issue was instead of just being frustrated. So it's quite interesting to see how, when your body gets backed up, besides not feeling really good, how our emotions going to get involved, which I think is something that kind of what we've learned through this pandemic thing is that we have this almost like a global fear that's going on right now. And so you had come up with how our emotions are impacting both our immune system, so it's not functioning very well, and also how it's impacting our detox system. And so that's something that we always check. We knew that the emotions were involved in it, but making sure that there's not this overall suppression of that immune system or that detox system because of those emotional issues right now.
Well, and often, and this is another new scan, is you'll find that there is a key physical issue that started shutting down your detox. And that's a new scan. I'm calling it the linchpin scan. And when I did on myself, I never had allergies before the age of about 8 or 9. Well, my family was very into work and doing everything yourself. So about age 8, I joined my dad, who was a good backyard mechanic, and rebuilding all the cars, cleaning wheel bearings with gasoline. So I had gas on my hands at age 8. I can remember siphoning gas with a short hose out of a gas tank to put it in, of course you get some in your mouth. All this stuff that we didn't know about heavy metals and all of that stuff. Well, the heavy metals in the gasoline blocked my detox system. So then I developed seasonal allergies. Well, because I had seasonal allergies, I got sinus infections. Because I had sinus infections, they would put me on antibiotics every year. So there was this cascade of things that until I got into quantum techniques and realized that I needed to clean up some stuff, I remained, very symptomatic in several areas that are now not a part of my life.
And that does bring forward one of the things that I love about quantum techniques is, we do look at your history and we kind of see, okay, where have you had those things in your life? Like, you working on the cars and then the seasonal allergies. And we're looking for those times when not only did you may have toxins and pathogens that impacted you, but also when are the times that you had an emotional issue impact you. And sometimes that can knock off the detox system. And so we do something where we do a quantum techniques release where we're releasing those emotions that got stuck in your body and not allowing it to detox in the right order or to not allow it to function the way God created it to function.
Well, one of the other things with energy medicine and QT specifically is so nice is, we can move back and forward in time because the body has a memory. Mm-hmm. So I can say, when did this problem begin? Oh, age 8, whether that's an emotional field or a physical field. Well, traditional medicine doesn't have a way to ask that, And so much of the time when I say, okay, I'm getting an issue, physical or emotional, at age 12, 90% of my clients will say, oh, yeah, that's when my parents divorced. Oh, yep, that's when I went in the hospital and I had a bad reaction to the anesthesia. Oh, okay. So it's amazing how the ability to move, you can't really move forward in time, obviously. You can move what the body's prediction is, which is a little difficult because it can't predict, how many new pathogens or how many toxins are going to come in, how many more emotional traumas. So predicting the future is not a skill set that anybody truly has. But going into the past and finding out what happened when, physically or emotionally, we can do that.
And I think that's another thing I like about quantum techniques is that, okay, so when we do and we find something, a lot of times the person that we're working with, they'll, like I said, oh yeah, that's when this happened, or that's when I had, tonsillitis, or, but if it is a trauma, sometimes their body won't remember it, but we have enough of the energy to be able to clear it. And so a lot of times what we say is, we don't have to have you relive the story in order to heal. Because we really feel that, the healing takes place now. Going back in the past and bringing that forward is just making you relive the trauma. And there's no need for that. And so that's the beauty of quantum techniques.
And I think that's important. I was trained as a clinical psychologist. I'm trained in EMDR, clinical hypnosis, multiple trauma release techniques. When we go back, we want to know what age, what are the emotions that you took in, like fear, terror, anger, rage. What are the beliefs you took in? Oh, I deserve punishment. No one's safe. So actually reliving the trauma is completely unnecessary and not even recommended in QT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, great. Yeah, that really kind of helped explain, detoxing and those emotional issues. Like I was saying, sometimes those will change the order that your body detoxes, and so we clear just enough in order to help the body get back into a healing state.
Well, and we can also test for you. There are detox things like Epsom salts baths, Miracle 2 baths, lymphatic massage, those chi machines, just working out. How much of those are good for you? Well, maybe you're good in infrared sauna, but if you go over 10 minutes, you have too much detox. Same thing with the bath. Can you do an hour bath? No, but 20 minutes is great. So we can help, we can help test for how much of those physical supportive things you can do on your own can you handle right now.
That's true. And then there's a lot of, tinctures and different things to help people detox.
Right.
And we can test those for your specific body to see, is that something that you need that's more? And so I think it's almost like it's a comprehensive look of being able to say, okay, yes, we're testing and it is taking some time and some money to do that, but you don't have to do all these other herbs and things like that too. So you're actually saving money on having to buy those, or you can get it for a little while, then you can save it for another time that you have that to take it again for some issue.
Well, and I know for me, I tend to be pretty sensitive to supplements. So yeah, I do a Miracle 2 bath to detox every day. And I also, because it tests good for me, I put cilantro and parsley in my smoothies every day. Well, besides all the crazy stuff I did with cars, I started welding without protection at age 14, and I don't weld anymore just because it was too hard even with respirators, so I haven't welded for probably 10 years. But I didn't, that was my hobby. Exotic welding, all kinds of stuff. But, using those natural things are much gentler, and I've been doing that for years, so, I'm pretty well detoxified.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, it's neat when you do feel like everything is functioning well, and you can really feel it. It's like yesterday I did a coat on myself, and I just kept peeing all day. It's like, okay, well, I know I'm detoxing, and so it's not a fear that, oh, I'm having a bladder infection. It's just being aware, okay, that's what's happening, and that's my body's natural way of getting rid of it.
And Jody, let me ask you now. You're a tad bit younger than I am. I've known Jody since she was 13, and so that's more than 2 years. So, but you know what? I cannot imagine aging. I'm 66. I can't imagine aging without this skill set.
Well, I couldn't imagine having a kid without it. I mean, I just, yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's just so much that I have been able to do for me and my family, and also for others by using this, and just knowing the why, and then knowing what to do about it has been just so helpful.
Right. Yeah.
So I appreciate everybody listening. And so what we kind of just want to be aware is that we do have a special offer at Quantum Techniques right now, is that if you go and sign up for a session request on our website at quantumtechniques.com, we will do a free 10-minute testing to find out if you are being impacted by the coronavirus, whether that's emotional or physical, and having issues that we need to work on. And then we'll work on putting together a code for you to help you get your body back into balance, into a healing state. And so we offer that, and if there's something else you want to work on, we can continue past the free 10 minutes if you'd like. But we like to have you fill out, your session request, and if you want to do more than getting a client history is helpful, because that, like I said, there's certain things that are helpful to know what you're eating and what pathogens and different surgeries you've had, because it really helps us give a picture of what's going on. So that's one offer, but our typical offer that we do with Quantum Techniques is that if you're a first-time client, we also have a 60 minutes session with one of us practitioners for $200 in order to work with a new-time client to kind of get a baseline on what you wanted to work on. So let's say if you want to do weight loss, if you want to do digestion, if you feel like you're just not detoxing well, or you have a compromised immune system, we would test and find out what things that you need to do to try to get your body back into a healing state. So those are two offers that we offer at Quantum Techniques.
Well, and I do want to mention that new clients have 24 hours to say, this didn't work for me, and request a refund, no questions asked. and we get a request for a refund about once every 4 years. So it's very rare that people don't experience a significant shift or understand they have a complex issue, but they've gotten a big chunk of the issue dealt with in that first session.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, so you can visit our website again at quantumtechniques.com, and you're welcome to reach out to me at Jody at quantumtechniques.com if you have any questions or need some help in getting the information. So we also have a YouTube channel with Quantum Techniques. We have lots of these kind of videos that really help you learn more about your health and how we at Quantum Techniques view health and help you get your health and happiness back. So we appreciate you listening, and we love your questions. And so if there's more videos that on subjects that you would like us to do, let us know, and we will continue to do this. Next week, we're working on trying to maybe put together several of the other practitioners and kind of do a group call so you can kind of meet all of us and kind of see our perspective on several different issues. So we're grateful that you're listening in, and we just want to say blessings from Quantum Techniques.
You guys have a blessed day. Be well and safe out there. Much love.